like pop stars that were kicked out of their groups in their prime. We're back. It's ImmaLetYouFinish, show number 193 on the Pantheon Podcast Network.
True. They were jealous, and
they were jealous.
They were jealous.
They told me I was singing too loud. Fuck them.
Yeah, they were jealous. That my choreography was too much for the handle.
Loud is the new me.
Right. They were jealous. Anyway, hi. I'm a less Elizabeth Ashley now and more smoker, which I am not. I just want to add that I am not a smoker.
Well, it is actually Pride Week in New York. Like this is the big moment. This weekend will be the big shebang. Then next week is the 4th of July. And fun fact, kids, we'll be off next week for the holiday. So we'll see you in a week after. Because you know what?
Oh, we are?
Fourth of July is in the middle of the week.
And, it is, right? It's like on a Wednesday or something crazy like that?
And, talking every week, I know you guys may not, I know you may think listening to us, that's all you motherfuckers do. And yeah, we talk a lot.
Don't call our fans motherfuckers.
No, I was calling us motherfuckers.
Oh, I'm not I definitely have never been a motherfucker. I'm just a mother.
With a little bit of fucker.
Right.
Yeah. So get a load of this week because you're not getting us for
luckily a lot happened in the last 20, how many days in a week? 7 days. A lot.
What has happened, Amy? Let's see if we can go through the list.
Okay, we'll do it. Well, okay, so Juneteenth was last week, and some people chose to celebrate Juneteenth in different ways. Some of us, acknowledged the holiday. Some companies inexplicably that have absolutely no black people working for them decided to take a day. That's fine. It's all good. But three very well-known African-American entertainers and executives decided to celebrate Juneteenth in very different ways. So we'll start with the one that has not gotten off the internet, which was Kendrick Lamar's. And thank you, friend of the show and friend of ours, Jay Smooth, for posting that it was on, because I totally forgot that.
Oh, and I should have sent it to you because I was sending it to everybody. I sent it to Ann because I was watching it from the beginning.
Me too. I clicked on. In between hacking up a lung, I was watching it. So it was from a performance standpoint, Kendrick brought out the creme de la creme of West Coast rappers and singers. But it all culminated in him doing sort of a greatest hits, for lack of a better, he kind of did the hits. And then
it was spectacular.
No, it was great.
And me, someone who does not really care about hip hop that much, I was like, he came out.
He came out.
He did all. He didn't do. It wasn't one of those. Here's a little filler. No.
He did
It was the heavy hitters.
No, but of course the chef's kiss was They're Not Like Us, which of course he did not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, 5 times, and. It was, first off, he sounded amazing. It was shot beautifully.
Absolutely.
There is something kind of perversely enjoyable about a man bringing out West Coast gangs and warring rappers and singing or rapping a song accusing another major star of being a pedophile and all sorts of things with corporate sponsorship. That I kind of loved. Mm-hmm. I kind of loved that Amazon was like, you either watch it now or you don't watch it at all, which was kind of cool. But the level of bitter and petty, they're going to give this is lessons on how to do nasty, bitter, petty, but so good. So good.
Well, the statement to me it's what we talked about before when we talked about the whole Drake versus Kendrick moment, to say it was really cultural on Kendrick's part because he brought all of these fractions that don't always get along together to be like, this is Los Angeles. Ultimately, we are this culture. We are of this. This is us. This is in our blood. This is who we are.
No pun intended. Blood.
Versus cosplay essentially, right? And like Drake, because some people feel like Drake, especially in the era where he's trying to be a little harder. It's like that's not who you
No,
are. This
it's
is
not who
this
you are.
It just was amazing. He just went hit after hit after
And then
hit
hit, and then
after
full out.
hit, yeah, and then was just like, okay, great.
And the audience was with him, and no, it was a great moment. Now, and that's always been one of the many complaints about Drake is he represents nothing.
Right.
And that's fine in some ways, but if you're presenting yourself as representing and a voice of, then you have to represent. And you notice how Kendrick imitated Drake's sort of like wacko
the dance.
Oh yeah, that was great. No, it was really like
with no music.
With no music.
He was just standing there doing the dance. And it took me a second. I was like, oh.
Well, there was 9 million.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody and their freaking mother has been examining and all this kind of stuff. All right. I have 3 complaints. First off, I would really love to see an era where rappers are not getting up there, not Kendrick, but singing over track, rapping over track, for crying out loud. It's like, come on, guys. I mean, okay, so that's number one. I like
some weird shit.
No, I don't.
And I've seen it. I've seen it a couple of times, like in people's concerts. I want to say that there are a couple of people in concert right now, and I was seeing clips, and I'm like, "Are you rapping over your
own track, your own vocals?" Yeah, no, it's
in an arena.
In an arena. So, yeah, and I was glad to see Steve Lacy up there. I thought that was fun to kind of throw him in. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, well, I guess this is number 2 and 3, to be honest with you. I had a problem with Dr. Dre up there. I have a problem with Dr. Dre, and that has been something that has been brought up. I am not discounting Dre's importance, that he is the imminence gray of West Coast hip hop. I am not discounting it, but his, if he just represents, I feel like there could have been somebody else just as impactful.
Well, he is that guy, right? But he seems to have been forgiven for a lot of sins.
That's what I'm saying. Why is he
taken a lot of other people down?
Why is he forgiven? Why is he? Why is he forgiven?
Well, that's a different sort of a question. Like, I can't really answer that on why. Even if we go all the way back to the D Barnes situation, he wasn't really punished then. There's never been any consequence.
He's never apologized.
Right.
Not in a real way. He's done one of those "if I offended anybody" apologies. And he only did that when Straight Outta Compton was coming out. And they went, and him and Ice Cube did this half-ass apology tour. And he is protected. I mean, for crying out loud, Naris has a humanitarian ward in his name. I mean, give me a freaking break. I mean, seriously.
It's interesting how some people get the redemption arc.
Well, I wonder why, Jimmy Iovine.
Right.
I mean, he's covered. He's literally, look, he makes great records. We've not said that. He hasn't made a great record in, I don't know, 30 years? He didn't write his biggest hit. He didn't write Still Dre. That's not him. Jay-Z wrote Still Dre. And that's like public knowledge, which is fine. Okay. But it's not just D Barnes. And I have a friend who was there, who saw it happen. So this is not just the he said, she said, nobody knows. It's not just D Barnes. It's Michelle Lay, allegedly. It's a lot. It's
been a lot of things.
It's an ex-wife, allegedly. Okay, fine. He's, he makes a lot of money for people. Ultimately, money talks.
It's interesting. There have been other people who've made a lot of money for people and they've gotten axed.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, men. Who's? No, I'm being very serious. Right. He is a. So that bothered me only because Kendrick was up there in a lot of ways, claiming his culture, being a representative of his culture, and you can make the argument, okay, you have gang members up there and they're not exactly angels either, but it was in terms of bringing people together, and he was claiming a moral high ground too, Kendrick. He was up there claiming a moral high ground, because when you're accusing something of being a pedophile, that's like the worst thing you can accuse somebody of, basically, is being a pedophile, right? And then you bring out a man who has beaten women and never apologized. So that just bothered me. A minor, it just seemed like a little blip in the radar. That said, Jay, I'm stealing again from Jay, but after that, it was like Kendrick. I mean, Drake won't even be able to sleep in a California king bed or go to California kitchen. He's done.
Well, Leslie, you know what's really interesting? He is nominated for a bunch of BET Awards, and the BET Awards are this weekend.
Oh,
Does he show up?
Where are the awards? In California?
They're always in LA.
All right. Well, good luck to him.
Does he show up?
I don't think he's not going to show. I don't think he's going to show up. I don't think he's going to show up. I mean,
I think he is going to show up
and be booed for.
Well, but here's the thing.
Will Smith is performing too. So short memory on that one.
I mean, a new song. The thing that we've.
I've been up. I have been up all night waiting.
I was like, thank God it's a new song.
No, thank God.
I have been sitting here saying,
all night.
I hope he comes out with the new record.
I was going to call you when I was up hacking my brains out going, Courtney, I need something to help me get back to sleep. Is there a new Will Smith song coming?
I'm hoping, Amy, because you know what? I stubbed my toe the other day and I was like, is my toe sprained? Do you know what might help that?
A Will Smith song. A new Will Smith song.
Yep. With Jada as a hype man.
Is he going to do like a cover of the Prodigy song, Smack My Bitch Up? I'm just saying.
Like, what?
I'm available for consultation.
It's like, why is this happening?
Is he going to bring his marginally talented son out with him? Anyway. But the Kendrick thing literally was a master class in
petty. It's the best kind of petty.
But petty with talent.
Mm-hmm. No, it's the best kind of petty.
It was
the best kind of petty is where like, I've got, here's the material. I'm going to deliver it in an excellent manner. But the best part was there were no dances or anything on that stage.
There were.
No. For the whole show.
Yeah.
Until he got to Not Like Us. Then all of a sudden they're dancers. I was like, this is like dancing on a grave.
Well, it was dancers who were just kind of there to like rile up the crowd. And then I think actually the other like knife in the heart was, oh my God, I forget the guy's name, but he's a Los Angeles guy, but he plays for the Raptors, came out. The basketball player.
Oh, when Russell Westbrook.
No, not Westbrook. The other guy.
Westbrook was out there too.
I know that, but I'm talking about the guy who plays for the Raptors,
Oh, wait. Oh, DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, that's a nice little FU. Because that's Drake's team, the Raptors. So I thought that was a nice little, I may play in Canada, but I'm from LA.
I'm an LA guy, right?
Yeah, so, it was also just, it looked amazing. It was shot beautifully, and we can all stop now with the imitations of it and people breaking it down. Though, did you see the weatherman who did the entire weather report?
No.
It's like, I have to find it. It's hilarious. He was like going, wop, 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 wop. It's going to rain today. It was just, he does this a lot. So anyway, that was great. That was how you celebrate Juneteenth. On the other hand, and Not Like Us, I think, is back at the top of the charts again. I think it went back.
And it never left the top 10. Right. And he just shot a video over the weekend for it. So, we got a summer of Not Like Us.
No. But
let
Drake,
me just tell you something. They play it a lot in Harlem. I hear it in people's cars. It's the full turn up.
It's a great song. Yeah. I mean, how is Drake, seriously, not that I am going to be up all night about this, but how does Drake come back at this point? Kendrick has won the narrative.
Well, true. He's won the hip hop narrative, but Drake still has the women. He just needs to not even try.
Do you think he still has them?
I think he has listen, they love his poppy rap shit. He needs to let this go, not even try to respond to it, and just make his next record and act like close that chapter and move forward. Because there's no way to respond to this. Now, has he taken a hit? I think in hip hop, he's absolutely taken a hit. Like, he had his last response was not received well at all. And then Kendrick comes and has the bigger record, right? Which is kind of really lasting in this show. So to me, it's like you have to concede the fight. And by that, you just move on to your next chapter and act like that.
But here's the problem with that. And I mean, I agree. But the problem is that Kendrick, first off, Drake has forgotten that I'm stealing again from Jay Smooth. Annie Up by MOP, which I love that song, is
Yeah.
about basically punching people in the face and taking their shit. And it sounds great. So you
Yeah.
can ignore maybe some of the. Drake has not made a song. One way to kind of win the narrative or win fans is to make a song that sounds good. None of his songs are club. This song is a banger. It's not like us. So he screwed up on that end. And it's like, what can he do to come back? How's he going to shift it? Yeah, there's
He's
always
just
going to
gonna
be.
he'll come out, just do your next project, whatever the singles are, whatever the music is. You just have to move on,
Yeah.
because if you go going back and forth, it's fruitless. Like, Not Like Us was already like, wow, that was a big hit. Then doing this show and bringing out all of LA, it's just kind of like, what are you gonna do?
Well, Kendrick is a lyricist
Kendrick
and
bringing out
Drake is
all of
not a.
Toronto, and this is not to diss Toronto.
No,
I've been to Toronto;
nobody.
it's a beautiful city, but it's not going to hit the same.
But we
So
don't know anybody in Toronto.
so
That's
you
the
just
problem.
have to move on and just go to whatever your next
Well,
shit
Kendrick is a lyric. We've said this before. Kendrick is a lyricist. Drake is a rapper. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Kendrick is a lyricist. Kendrick. So no, yeah, it was great. It was just like, it was a lot of fun. Okay. Some other people, though, decided to celebrate or mark Juneteenth by getting into bed with Scum. And so Swiss Beats and Timberland have now signed a deal. They maintain ownership of it, but they have signed a deal to have Verzuz just on X. So here's my two questions for you. First off, does anyone care about Verzuz anymore? Wasn't it like a pandemic thing? Right. I mean, it's like,
That moment is past.
it's gone. I mean,
it got watered down by the
Totally.
when it was organic in the beginning, it was great.
Right.
Then when they started doing them toward the end, it was like, this feels like it feels like a moment that has passed.
Yeah, totally throwing everybody together. I mean, D Nice is smart. D Nice took that club quarantine thing and then branded it and has taken it out and resurrected a DJ career. That's smart. Yeah, so nobody cares about Verzuz. I'm sorry. They got everybody that we wanted to see.
Absolutely.
As far as I'm concerned, once that Dipset locks thing, I was like, that's it. Boom, end of story. We are done. So unless they're going to get, and it's not going to happen, Nas versus Jay-Z or Drake versus Kendrick. I mean, who are they going to get that people are really fiending to see? All right, so that's number one. But number two, really? Elon Musk? Really?
Did we just see this failed experiment with Don Lemon signing to do his show through X? That it's Elon Musk. First of all, I believe, I look at him and I think that we might be talking about someone who does not align on my views of race. Let's start with that when it
or
comes
sex
to
or gender
and
or
suddenly
anything.
my ex, like my Twitter account, X Twitter, whatever you want to call it, is flooded with all kinds of shit I don't follow, and it's all extremely right wing, and I don't know how that has suddenly gotten all of my feed, and I'm starting to notice it also on our show's TikTok feed. I don't follow anything political on our show's TikTok feed. It's all music and fun stuff, but I'm getting all of this.
Yeah, but it's the
really
algorithm that's going to flood it,
but the algorithm usually comes when you watch and you're looking at certain things. The X stuff, Twitter was always like the Wild Wild West, but now it's like a trash can.
No,
why is that where you want to put this?
Yeah, X has got a horrible reputation. Most people have left it.
You don't even use it anymore. You don't even go.
I stopped. I mean, I only use Twitter, to be honest with you, for the show, or occasionally. I find all of this, like, nobody really. If I want to say something to somebody in 140 characters, I can call up my friends. It's absolute garbage. He's absolute garbage. He's just a bad person. I'm sorry. He's a fraud in a lot of ways. I'm talking about Elon Musk. He did not invent all this stuff. I'm not saying he's not smart, but just aligning ourselves with him, or not us. So it's just like, I mean, if you really want to make a statement, are there no black social media companies, or why even care? Does your fan base really check for X anymore? Seriously.
That's the thing. And there is, they started Spill, and Spill is still there. That could have been the thing, one of the things you brought over to Spill, to be like, we're going here, sign up here. This is where it's going to be, and people would have come to the
Right.
platform.
Right. Why elevate?
Wait, the worst part was the post that they did. And they did the Verzuz TV post on Juneteenth, picturing on a yacht, Timberland, Elon Musk, and Swiss Beats, and they're holding up glasses, cheers, and they end the post saying Happy Juneteenth. I'm like, you're standing next to a guy
who was raised in apartheid South Africa, whose father owned an emerald mine.
And who acts like it.
Right.
And the things that he says, and you got Happy Juneteenth?
Yeah, no, this is not in any way to say that all white people who were raised in South Africa, because there are plenty of people who were raised in South Africa during apartheid who got out and lived fantastic, wonderful, good people. Elon Musk is not one of them.
And the interesting thing is the blowback from Black people was swift.
Oh, it's happening now. They've had to apologize now. Again.
It's like, but I'm looking at them going, and it's one of those things where you realize I have no problem with the fact that we're a capitalistic society. I believe you need money to survive. Money makes the world go round. Is it everything? No, but it sure is a big, important part of things. But when I see certain decisions, I'm like, that doesn't even make sense.
Like, how much more do you need? Listen, I don't know Swiss Beats, other than his personal life, Mashonda, whatever, whatever he does is like, musically, I've always been a fan. Timberland, I've always been a huge fan. I think the problem is we always assume, and I think we always assume this, with Black artists, that their politics are going to align with something that will benefit someone other than themselves.
Right.
And you know what? At the end of the day, the color they're seeing is green. And I really think that that's it. And that's great. And that's fine. But, oh my God, Elon, it's like giving him a humanitarian award, Elon Musk. He's not a good person. He's just not a good person. So that was...
My thing is this. You started Verzuz on Instagram. Why didn't you do it there? Why didn't you make a deal with them? That's where it started.
I know. Well, the whole thing and X is not doing well.
No,
why are you trying to resurrect a dying thing that is dying for
both
a good
of them
reason?
are dying because no one is asking for another Verzuz. By the end, people were like, "This is dumb." It had lost the magic of what it was.
Right. We're 2 years. It's the expiration date on that is absolutely gone. So, all right. So. Justin Timberlake was arrested last week for DWI, or what do we call it here? Do we call it DWI here or DUI? Drunk driving.
Yeah.
Okay, drunk driving. And a lot of people took a lot of pleasure in, I think it's called Schadenfreude, where you take pleasure in the pain of others.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found, obviously innocent to proven guilty, he is within his rights to refuse a breathalyzer. Most lawyers will tell you to refuse a breathalyzer. It is hilarious that the officer who pulled him over had no idea who he is. The Daily Mail did some.
That's my favorite part of the story.
No, that's the best part.
Other parts, whatever. I'm
no idea. Yeah.
Because he said something about the tour.
My tour is going to mess up my tour.
And the guy's like, "What tour?"
Right. The Daily Mail, of course, because they're assholes, did a hit job on the officer. It's like, oh, that's a good idea. Put the picture of the 25-year-old officer out. But the thing I find very interesting. So yeah, a lot of people were taking cracks at it, and it's like. People got very angry at the Times coverage, a lot of music writers, because it was sort of a vicious recounting of the arrest. And it's like, it shouldn't be a place to take your issues with Justin Timberlake. But the thing that made my head explode, why is Gayle King offering a public, like, oh, Justin, he's such a great, why are you taking this? Why are you caping for this man?
Can I just say?
Why?
And I'm going to speak. I can't speak on behalf of all Black people.
Yeah,
because we're not a monolith.
You can. Today, I'll let you do it. You can do it.
But is there anybody worse than Gayle King?
Oh yeah,
nice lady. But
but
she's the worst. She sat on television and told everybody that Oprah was sick and in the hospital when, like, I'm sure Oprah did not want that out. She did an interview with one of my artists that I was working with once, and I remember just feeling like this is one of the worst interviews ever. It was like an overzealous fan and not a journalist.
She's not a very good interviewer.
No, I just don't think she's great. I think she's really nice. I've met her. Lovely,
sure
lovely person. But sometimes when she comes out and says shit, I remember there was a time during the Harry and Meghan thing, and she came out and offered some information. I'm like, why, as a journalist, are you always making yourself part of the story? Why are you always talking? Why? Just why?
She's not a journalist anymore. Seriously, she's a television personality, which is fine. My thing that I find hilarious or disturbing is a few days after Justin got busted, Travis Scott got busted for drunk and disorderly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Gail, like, why are you rushing to the defense? This is something Whoopi Goldberg does too sometimes, and it drives me nuts.
Baby. She drives people crazy.
Why are you rushing to the defense of the rich white guy? I'm not saying that Travis... Listen, what Justin Timberlake was pulled over for is... Let's remember that drunk driving is a really bad thing. People die because of drunk drivers. Full stop, okay?
And the drivers are the ones who are usually alive. Right. And they usually kill someone else. Right. That's why it's a bad thing.
I don't want him to go to jail for the rest of his life. I happen to think this one martini thing is like, give me a break. Come on.
Right.
What, the martini the size of Lake Michigan? Give me a freaking break.
Absolutely.
Nobody, there's all sorts of reports. It'll be worked out. He'll cop a plea. He'll pay a fine. He'll have his license suspended. Yada, yada, yada. I just find it extraordinary. Why are you defending these people? He has been accused of something that is serious. He will get his justice. He is not going to jail. He's not going to go to Attica or Rikers Island. It'll be fine. But why do people feel the need to defend him? He did something wrong. So stop. Because why? Because you go to parties with him in the Hamptons?
That's what it feels like with her.
Yeah.
She's the worst.
It's like, so defend Travis Scott. Yeah. Travis Scott, who's a knucklehead. But he did something. So I find the whole thing, and I'm sure allegedly he did this. It'll be taken care of. He'll be fine. But I just find it really, really, but I did enjoy everybody because I've never heard anybody say that he's a nice person.
That is why I think so many people were taking joy in this, because I think it's a little bit of if you're a dick and an asshole, it's hard for people to want to have sympathy for you when things happen. Right. And it goes back to, listen, we don't have to relitigate all of it. It's dumb. Let's take a break. We're going to take a break and be right back.
It's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
And we're back.
Oh, that was fast. That was really fast. Wow. I barely had time to down that one martini I was going to have. That place that he went to, I was out in Sag Harbor once with somebody, and we weren't even allowed in that place because he didn't have a suit jacket.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's still like that, but you can't go in there unless it's one of those places that they have jackets for guys sitting there. So,
we need to stop upsetting Billy Joel, because Billy lives in Sag Harbor, and all of the press in Sag Harbor has been very disruptive to his life, having cameras in his face, and he has not appreciated people.
You know what I think about Billy Joel?
You gotta be a big shot. Don't just something,
He just said who Big Shot was written about.
Oh, who was it written about?
I think it was written about Mick Jagger. I think. But he just said who was written about. Billy Joel is like, if you grew up in Long Island in the 70s, Billy Joel was the reason people became drug addicts and unwed mothers and bank robbers and punk rockers. If I had to hear Piano Man or Captain Jack, well, Captain Jack is one of the worst songs ever written. I challenge anyone to find me a worse song than Captain Jack. It's awful. Piano Man is pretty bad too. In my opinion, he has written one really great song. No, I can't say.
But Amy, we didn't start the fire.
We didn't start the fire. And I'm not an uptown girl. I just find him to be heinous on so many different. I'm sure he's a perfectly lovely person and yay for him and whatever. But musically, I have gotten into I would like to one day give a lecture. Maybe I'll do an entire class about this on Black people's inexplicable love of Journey and Billy Joel. Discuss.
I don't know. None of my friends have ever talked to me about Journey or Billy Joel.
Wow. Okay, then I need to hang out more with your friends.
Yeah, not one of them.
Because I have gotten into it. I'm like, oh my God. It's but it was also like rappers' inexplicable love of Coldplay in the beginning. Because it was like, why? Because anyway. Yeah, so Justin, blah, 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 blah. It'll be fine. But it is it's mean. But in a week of petty, in a week that was marked by petty, it was kind of fun to see him frog march with his baseball. Does everyone travel with a baseball cap now?
That's the uniform.
I have a baseball cap too, but I have to protect myself. But I'm just saying this, everybody seems to have a baseball cap glued to their head at all times.
I mean, I have a baseball cap, but it's the limited edition Barney's Yankees cap.
La-di-da-di. I just have whatever I can get my hands on. But it's
couture.
I didn't wear mine for years, and then I started wearing it again because of the sun. But anyway.
Well, I wear more bucket hats because I'm more fashion icon now, and I'm famous. So sometimes when I'm just trying to get down the street without having to be stopped 14 different times because of the show and take pictures and stuff. So it's really
I look terrible in a bucket hat. I really do. I look absolutely.
Yeah, I've never seen you in a bucket hat.
No.
I have seen you in a baseball cap.
Yeah, well, just because it's to protect this nonsense. All right. MTV News has shut down their entire online library of everything. They've basically just gotten rid of it. And we joke around about, MTV, who cares, who watches it? But in its day, MTV News, you worked at MTV, I worked at VH1 and MTV in the news department.
I was a talent booker in the news and doc department.
Right.
That was my department.
MTV News launched the careers of a lot of people we know. I'm talking about the writing thing. News.
People don't realize, if you look back at who was at MTV News, the writers, the producers, a lot of them are big writers, big producers now at CBS, different networks, like Serena Alshos, Gideon,
Allison Stewart. I mean,
Kurt Loder,
MTV, Kurt Loder was big before.
But I'm just saying the people who they had there and the writings, and they've scrubbed all of that. But what we didn't talk about was this is what's been happening with Paramount. They've been up for sale. A couple of weeks ago, they quietly did the same thing to their CMT side. CMT was decades of all of that journalism on country music and all of the art. And I get you're shutting these things down because, private equity wants to buy these things and they don't see value in it. But the fact that they're scrubbing it all. Right, all of it is just being taken away. It's like you can't even go back and reference it.
Well, you're getting rid of history. You're basically
and a lot of it.
You're getting rid of history, but whatever you want to say, the stuff MTV News. I was at VH1 News, which that's a whole other conversation. It was news in quotation marks because we were heavily censored as to what we could or could not cover. But every once in a while, I'd fill in at MTV News. I used to watch MTV News to get ideas of what to cover. They were doing real stories, not just so-and-so's on tour type of stuff. And some of the stuff throughout the years, they managed to stay a little distant. But the point is that when you wipe, it would be the equivalent of like a movie company. A company buys a movie company and then decides to get rid of all the stuff from the 20s and the teens because you can't make money over it. This is history. This is pop
Which is what they've been doing.
Right.
Too.
This is pop culture history. And this is why you have a Schomburg. This is why you have a Rock's Back Pages. This is why you have a Library of Congress. This is archival stuff. You can't understand. We talk about a generation of people who don't know cultural context, who don't know history. Well, you're wiping it all out. And plus the writers, like, you just got rid of
all
everything
your
I
work
wrote.
just gone.
I mean,
gone.
it's like, and I've been part of, I mean, the Village Voice got rid of a bunch of stuff and then it made it available. But it would have cost them nothing to anthology. It would have cost them nothing. It's already there.
Already there.
It's already
But see, this is that weird shit when they go, well, we'll get tax breaks, scrub it, wipe it all away. It's like they've done when these tech companies have bought these studios and they're like, well, tax breaks, so we're going to just take all of these things and scrub them and take them away and you can't see them anymore and they can't exist. I know young people don't really think of MTV now as anything more than maybe a place that they watch RuPaul's Drag Race because they moved that over to MTV to try to bring an audience. And Teen Mom and Jersey Shore, which I cannot believe are still actual living programs on MTV. But MTV News was that place. Like,
no, it was the CNN of pop culture.
When I was at Columbia, I was in video promotion and we would take artists.
No, it was an important place.
To do MTV News because you wanted to get those interviews. You wanted to be, they were speaking to a whole generation
Rock
of
the
people.
Vote? Rock the Vote?
Absolutely. For all of that to just be gone because they're like, we need to make this company more attractive for sale. And just even the CMT part to me is even bigger because for a long time nationally, where was country? There weren't that many outlets that were really giving country that big a platform. And CMT was the place.
Right.
And for them to do the same thing and just scrub everything at CMT.com, all of those, I mean, decades of articles and pieces and journalism, just everybody's work gone.
Well,
it's really
people
sad.
don't, as I said, you can't complain that people don't know history if you're wiping it out. We do it across the board now in this country. We can't even get into, we're just like, I don't, la, 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 so yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. Okay. On a positive note, Nas is, going to bring the classic hip hop movie Beat Street to Broadway. And I got to tell you, I am not a fan of the jukebox musical, but this makes perfect sense.
Well, let's see, right? Because each time they've tried to do a hip hop musical, they've not been that successful.
Oh my God. I saw that horrible Tupac one. Oh my God.
Which was only around for a week. And got to see it.
That was a week too long. The only thing
I heard it was so bad. I heard it was terrible.
So, no, you know who?
I heard the acting wasn't terrible, but the
whole thing was terrible. The entire thing was like a lead up to like, oh, here they're going to sing Brenda's Got a Baby or California. It was like a lead up. The only redeeming factor of that show, there were two redeeming factors. One, I saw Joe Franklin in the audience. So that was a
legendary.
Moment. That's a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one was that it was really air conditioned. So that was
nice. The theater is always going to be air conditioned.
Yeah, it's very air conditioned. That was the worst thing I've ever seen. And I will tell you off camera, the one person I know who liked it.
And I bet you I could figure that out. Should we talk about Cameron's comment?
Oh yeah. So anyway, I think that'll be fun. Nas, it is the 40th anniversary.
I'd love to hear it. Hope it's great.
Yeah, I hope it's great too. And breakdancing, lots of breakdancing. That'll be fun. Breakdancing's in the Olympics this year.
I'm very curious as to what that's going to be.
As long as they don't do it in the E. coli discovered Seine, they'll be okay.
Well, I'm going to announce it here. Fun fact: I'm going to be doing weekly recaps. I'm going to do a little addendum every week and do a weekly recap of the Olympics.
How come just you? You think I don't watch the Olympics?
You don't watch the Olympics.
I watch the Olympics, Courtney.
I watch every sport, though. Do you watch every sport? I'm one of those people who get up. I watch everything, like rowing.
But I do
team rowing.
I don't think you want to watch rowing this year as you watch people get water in their mouth and drop off. I mean,
how are they going to let people go in the Seine? The Seine right now is brown that it's purple.
I was just
and they're like, the water's clean. I'm like, that water's not clean.
No, I was just I was not just, but in March I was in France.
That was just in France. March is enough to know that the water wasn't clean when you were there.
My friend, we did a really fun touristy thing. We went on one of those boat rides. It's lots of fun. People throw shit into water. I'm sorry. They're awful, terrible people. These docks, the boats dock near restaurants. And I kept saying to my friend, where are they going to have the races? I mean, this is the only water. I'm like, okay. It would be cleaner to go in the Hudson.
And they've cleaned up the Hudson, which
That's
is why,
what I'm saying.
Which is why we keep seeing whales and dolphins and all of those things coming back.
I have gone swimming in the Hudson. I've been in the Hudson. I mean, I'm not like,
I've been in the Hudson upstate.
Yeah, in Westchester, I wouldn't go in the Hudson. But the point is that, all right, but I watch the Olympics too. I just want to say I do watch the Olympics. But no, I do not watch the shot putting or whatever that's called. The shot put, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I watch all the things. I didn't know you'd want to do it because I didn't think you actually watched the Olympics.
Of course, it's sports.
The only thing you watch is 90 Day Fiancé and the 6,000 spin-offs.
That's not true. I'm sorry. You still watch Survivor.
Do not talk about Survivor.
Well,
I have a whole Survivor group.
I know.
Even though I've not been happy with the last 2 U.S. Survivors, so I haven't been as active. But Australian Survivor is the motherfucking way to go.
Well, I will watch some of these things too, but I will say that I do watch the Olympics because when I was a young Amy Linden, I wanted to be in the Olympics. And I started running track because I saw a documentary about Wilma Rudolph. This is how delusional I was. And I was like, was it Wilma Rudolph? Yeah,
Wilma Rudolph.
I said, I want to be in the Olympics. I want to be a track runner like Wilma Rudolph. It didn't happen. I did run track. I was a track runner
I was obsessed with her story because remember she had polio as a little girl.
Oh, no. It was an amazing story.
Amazing story.
That's a biopic I would watch.
They've had one. Didn't they have one back in the day? But it was a TV movie, I believe.
Oh, okay. Because that's a great, that would be a great biopic. But anyway, okay, Cameron. Okay, so I have to say, Cameron, I got to tell you, never was a massive, my son was like a massive Dipset fan to the point of like almost like psychosis. He was always very New York hip hop, very French Montana, Dipset, Jim Jones type of thing. So Cameron, though, gives good quote. And he always has. He's a very good interview, and he just says what he wants to say, and he's usually kind of on the money. So was he responding to something Antonio Brown said? Who
yes,
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But he said something basically saying, and I don't know if you can argue with it, Jay, not dissing him, Jay likes hip hop, Nas loves hip hop. I can't say I find much argument there.
True, what do you think? But I think that's real, but I also think we have to contextualize it a little bit. I think at this point in Jay's career, he's transcended that moment. Like Nas is still putting out records. Nas is still hip hop. He is still a hip hop artist first, businessman second, right? Yeah. So he's still in the game. Jay hasn't put out a record in years. I think Jay is so many other things. But the flip side is Jay's a businessman first to me. Like now he's very a capitalist. So it's like watching him be a New York rapper from Brooklyn, rep Brooklyn all day, and then seeing him after what Cameron said is very real. Hip hop had a 50th anniversary. You did not show up and perform at anything.
Or acknowledge it.
You did not acknowledge it. But you show up and perform in Boston for Tom Brady's jersey retirement?
Yeah, no.
That felt so, to an audience who could give two shits that it was you, they would probably have rather had a Boston artist there.
Well, no, I think that there's not an audience in the world, especially one filled with white people, is not going to care if Jay-Z shows up. I mean, let's be fair. I mean,
but did you see that audience? They did not give a fuck when he was rapping.
Right.
They did not care.
I don't give a fuck about Tom Brady.
It felt weird. It felt like what's the connection with you and Tom Brady?
Money.
Yeah. So it seemed like so you could perform here. You couldn't do anything, even when the Grammys did something for hip hop, or show up to any performance someplace.
No, he was part of something with the Grammys with hip hop. He did that thing. I forget who it was. He did something, a pre-tape thing or something.
A pre-tape taped something. Just
Yeah,
like his
but he was great. But he
pre-tape.
was great. It was great. It was fantastic. I mean, it really. But I'm trying to remember what it was. It wasn't part of the Questlove production because I'm not defending, and to say he's a capitalist, I mean, the guy started as a drug dealer, so he's always been a capitalist, and I got nothing. That's fine,
Yeah, I have no problem with people being a capitalist.
I think if Jay wanted to, and he doesn't want to, obviously he could come out and put out a record and blow everybody away. That said, I can't argue what Cameron is saying. It's like saying there are people who are singers and people who know how to sing.
Absolutely.
So I think what he was saying, and I don't think he stepped on anyone. So
no,
I
think I agreed with what he said. I do. I agree with what he said. I think it was basically like Nas still, it's his soul. He does this.
He's still putting out albums.
And I think that Jay has actually moved on from that portion of his career, from it being the first thing. And he's 50-something years old, married with a bunch of kids.
So is Nas.
Yeah, but it's different.
I know. But
he's opened up a whole agency. He's got sports stars. It's different. It's just different. Nas, you could tell us, you say that, but Nas is still in it. Like I said, Nas probably started putting out some of his strongest work in these last few years, right? He still has that thing. Nas is still doing concerts. When's the last? We haven't seen a Jay-Z concert in years.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're agreeing with the point then. I mean, no one is taking away from Jay's legacy, but yeah, on a day-to-day basis, Nas is actively living. He's putting out documentaries. He's a partner in Mass Appeal. He's promoting stuff. He did all these documentaries, bringing to the Ralph McDaniels documentary, the Ricky Powell documentary. He did the Ricky Powell one. That was Ricky Powell, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he did the Ricky Powell one. Or not him personally, but his production company. So yeah, I don't think anything, and it's not even a diss. I don't even think it's a diss. And
it was just kind of like a factual statement.
It was kind of like a factual statement. It's like people who live, it's like being someone who can play basketball and someone who's a gym rat. There are some guys that are just gym rats, and they're constantly, it's like you look like a Dante DiVincenzo. You're like, all right, this guy breathes basketball. You can look at him. And then you look at guys who are like that knucklehead from wherever he's from, the big whiny baby. The Serbian big whiny baby, the Slovenian big whiny baby.
Jokic.
Yeah, he's a big whiny baby. He's a really talented basketball player. I can guarantee you during the offseason, this guy is not in the gym working on his game. He's off writing his string of Peloponnese somewhere. That's a honeymooners joke for those of us old. I use that line all the time. My string of Peloponnese. I love that.
Many years as I've watched the honeymooners from the
You never
time
saw that
I was
episode?
little. No, I have.
Uh-oh.
I never realized that the honeymooners was only ever one season. Did you know that? Yes, it's only one season.
That many shows that are one season?
It was one season.
Oh. Well, you do know it's the inspiration for the Flintstones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love the honeymooners. And you could never put that show on television now. It would never work. You could never do it. You could never have a show where the man is threatening to punch his wife out if she doesn't do it.
Bang, zoom.
To the moon out. And I love the fact that you never saw anything.
You never saw the bedroom. You
never saw Norton's apartment either. No. All right. So speaking of people having things to say, I'm gonna hope I pronounce this right. Serj Tankian, who is System of a Down. System of a Down.
I worked those records when I was at Columbia, the videos.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
Listen, I'm trying to get my rock cred. I know things.
Very good. That's very good. That's good.
I'm a down system.
I'm a down system. System of a Down. He's always been a very politically motivated person. He is from Azerbaijan.
Yes.
Look at me. I said Azerbaijan.
Now, what is the issue with that area? Is it in conflict? What's the deal?
I mean, it's just the human rights violation. I mean, spin the globe and pick your country with human rights violations. I mean, But this one in particular, I think, is close to his heart, literally and figuratively, because this is where he's from. I thought he was Armenian, but they're very close together. Because Armenian last names have an IAN, Kardashian. I mean, a lot of them have. Anyway, he has criticized. Oh my God! Imagine Dragons, which are like, I'm sure they're lovely people. I'm sure they're lovely people. But they're like, if Nickelback was too edgy for you, you have Imagine Dragons. I'm sure they're incredible. I'm sure they're lovely. He's actually the lead dragon. Seems like a very nice man. They're Mormons, but they're really kind of they are pro LGBTQ stuff, which is a big deal if you're in a very devout religious group. But he has criticized them for performing at this show in this country because of the human rights violations. And he said basically they're terrible people. On one hand, you could say if artists are going to stop playing show places with human rights violations, they would have to maybe stop playing in the United States too.
I was about to say, well, we got a lot of shit here, so
and if it might get worse. But I think when it's something as egregious as this place, it'd be like playing at a show in China where the Uyghurs are being sent to detention camps. But he's angry about it. The only thing I could possibly say is if you're playing Azerbaijan and you're Imagine Dragons, this is like who cares? I mean, not who cares about the issue. The issue is really important, and I'm glad he raised the issue. But I always thought Imagine Dragons were a little more savvy politically, but maybe they're thinking like most people think, well, there's not a big enough community in this country and nobody really knows what the issue is. So it's not like something really, really blatant and we can get away with it and we're probably getting paid a lot of money. So that's probably what it is, But I applaud Serge Tankian for bringing it, because he does bring these things to light often. This is not like he only does it about this. But, it's also like these mainly R&B and rappers who play these shows for full out freaking dictators and get a ton of money. People who play Saudi Arabia, including some artists we talk about on this show, and get a ton of money. And it's like, come on, really, you don't need the money that bad. But the biggest crime to me is that Imagine Dragons still.
What the biggest crime today is? I woke up and seeing the news that the pride flags outside the Stonewall Memorial were all destroyed and broken last night. And
wow.
I'm starting to feel, I don't know where we're headed, but it feels, it's always been bad, but this just feels like another level. Like, you don't want pride flags hanging anywhere. Why are you coming down to where the gay people are and destroying that? The level of evil that is happening in this country is really starting to freak me out. As a Black gay man who's dealt with both racism and homophobia, this feels worse than when I was young. It feels like we're reaching new levels of just hatred being acceptable, intolerance being acceptable. I don't know where we're headed, Ames, but
brace yourself for November.
Yeah, I was about to say, this election is. And when people ask me about the election, I'm like, this isn't even about Republican or Democrat. This is about literally the soul of everything that we know.
Brace yourself.
This is some other shit. I know. I keep telling everybody, I'm like, you're living in a fantasy if you don't think that this shit can be worse. Because I feel like
it can be a lot worse.
This can be worse.
It can be a lot worse. It can be a lot worse. These young women, when they go to the doctor and can't get a birth control pill,
right? Because here's the thing: they don't want you to have an abortion, but they also don't want you to have access to contraception. And they're also coming, all you gay people who are loving now that you feel like you don't have to wear condoms because of PrEP, they're coming for your PrEP as well. It's I don't know what motherfuckers want. What do you want?
I know exactly what they want. They want a Christian nation without the Christ.
Right, without the Christ. Absolutely.
Yeah. They just want a Christian nation, but ignoring all the Christ stuff because
that part's inconvenient.
That part's inconvenient.
Yeah, that part's inconvenient.
They don't want that. Oh my God!
I went to Catholic school. Okay, I mean, I don't recognize any of the stuff these people are talking about.
Well, and you've recovered nicely from it.
I'm still scarred, honey.
I have never met. Some of my best friends are Catholics, but I have never, pound for pound, I have never met anyone who went to Catholic school who didn't come out in some degree.
Honey, I'm like a Catholic high school girl in trouble, honey.
No, in some degree. And I have Catholic girls were the first to fall, man. I mean, and I have tons of friends who are Catholics, but I have never met anybody who came out of Catholic school. Yeah.
Guilty.
Just unbelievable.
I graduated from Catholic school, and the first thing I did when I walked across the stage is I grabbed the mic when I grabbed my diploma, and I was like, "Where are the dicks? Where are the dicks?"
Come on, really? Seriously? No, you did not do that.
I did not do that.
Okay,
Come
good.
on. My mother and father would have
shot
me
you.
off
No,
the stage.
I was going to say, they would have sent you back. I was like, please, oh God. Please don't.
But then I refused to go to Catholic high school. They wanted me to go to Catholic high school, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, no.
I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, it's good. It's
I'm
all
done.
good. All right. So James Chance may not be a name that the average music listener is aware of, because the sort of apex of his career was the late 70s, early 80s. He was part of the no wave movement here in New York, which was being encapsulated. Whoa, what the hell was that?
Me dropping my phone.
Okay, that's a loud ass phone. Encapsulated or captured by the No Wave New York, or New York No Wave New York album, produced by Brian Eno. A lot of groups: DNA, Mars, Teenage Jesus and the Jerks, still one of the greatest band names ever. And James Chance, who also performed under the name James Black or James White and the Blacks, and he played with the Contortions. Anyway, he was very controversial in his time. I can't remember if I ever saw him perform. I very well may have. He was, he was a saxophone player, very much in a kind of free jazz, but he was one of the first white musicians that I can recall. And from reading the obits, and I recommend the New York Times obit, because John Perils never writes anything bad. One of the first to kind of really make a fusion between punk and funk, to really kind of, because he covered James Brown. I mean, very kind of like out there, free jazz, Ornette Coleman, Albert Ayler, very confrontational, would try to start fights with the audience. Was he musically the most talented? No. I mean, he was not a trained necessarily musician, but very much a moment in time in New York of that time. And he passed away last week at age 71. He had been in failing health for quite some time. Had struggled with drugs, but who didn't back then? So he's someone worth listening to, because the outpouring of memories and acknowledgement of his importance has been quite remarkable to read. And, he was in a band with Adele Bertai, who's had a whole kind of second career as a great novelist and a great, her book about LaBelle. I don't know if you read that, Why LaBelle Matters. So good, man.
I need that book.
No, it's really, really good. It's that whole series that
the 33 and a third, right?
No, it's not 33 and a third. It's called Why So and So Matters.
Oh, okay, right.
It's Texas University Press. Stacy's the one. They had that book about why Tammy Wynette matters.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but both of which books are great. But anyway, so James Chance passed away. I remember I had a roommate back in San Francisco like a million years ago. Wake up one morning and, oh God, what was the guy's name? Tim Byrne. I think his name was Tim Byrne. And he was in the group DNA, and he's like wandering out of a room in the morning. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be super impressed by this or super afraid. I was just sort of like, whatever, yet another one. But anyway, James Chance, his stuff is available. He was in the Contortions. He was, Contortions were a really important band in New York of that time. And again, I think I saw them. In my defense, I think I could pretty much sum up most of the early 80s for me.
I would think that I could remember all the people that I've seen, and sometimes I'll be looking, I'm like,
can't.
I think I saw you.
No, I think I saw you.
I kind of remember being at a show.
I think I saw you.
It's like so many shows that I realized
Adam
I
Ant.
don't remember.
I swear to God, I think I saw Adam Ant. But I can't remember. I think I was there. I mean, why Adam Ant? Out of all the groups in a million years, I can tell you all the groups I didn't see. But for some reason, I feel like I saw Adam Ant, and I feel like I saw him at the Ritz, but I can't remember. But that's okay. Maybe I don't need to remember it. Maybe some things are best left on it. Anyway, but R.I.P. James Chance. So what are you listening to?
Well, I've been listening to the new Jamie XX single "Life" featuring Robin, which is great.
Dreamy, right there.
Yeah, yeah,
Dreamy,
yeah.
like double dreamy.
I've been listening to Florey's record, who's an English songwriter, singer, who's been around for years, and this album has been like a gazillion years in the making, so that's great. And for some reason,
our drinking game for one of us who doesn't drink.
I have been stuck on repeat on Paul McCartney and Wings' Band on the Run. The Band on the Run album, it's a really good album.
Yeah, okay, if you say so.
And I'm not a Beatles guy. But I do like a lot of the Paul McCartney solo stuff. I do. And I like a lot of the John Lennon solo stuff. Right. Never been a huge Beatles person, but I really like this record, and so it's just been playing.
I have to. No, I'm not going to listen to it. But
yeah, I was about to say, why lie? You're like, no, I have to. Layla Hathaway's
we talked about this, like Vanta Black, right?
Brilliant Vanta Black. It's
I do
her best in years,
and it's the best title for a record.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the best stuff. For those of you who don't know what Vanta Black is, it is the blackest blackety black shade of black you can have in the blackety black shade of black.
And I've also been pulling out a lot of Angela Bothell.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. No Normani, unfortunately, who debuted at number 91. Yikes. It's like, girl.
All right, I'm not Schadenfreude. I mean, but Jesus Christ. I mean, come on.
We said it, though. We said it like when she had a wave. And you were supposed to put everything out when you're at the top of that wave and you're cresting on that wave.
Yeah.
You cannot come 5 years later and then have a boring album.
In the pop music market. Maybe in a rock and roll outfit, maybe in a jazz, maybe in a blues, whatever. Not in a pop. Nope. When you are a very nice, talented, but ultimately replaceable, disposable pop star.
Absolutely.
In the summer of Sabrina Carpenter, somebody should have looked and said, "Ooh, this kind of frothy little sassy white girl is taking over. Maybe we'll wait." No, it was like, I mean, I'm sorry.
About that? Maybe we should have a better album.
Well, there's that too. But yeah, the only person I can think of in recent history, and this is maybe I'm apples and oranging it, of black pop, black R&B, who could wait a minute and put out a record was SZA, but she came out with a killer record. And she made you want it. She made you was like, you know who I wish would put out a record? Speaking of black artists who I really love, it's like, where the hell are they? Where's St. John?
Right? Because there was a lot of noise
on him,
and then all of a sudden silence.
Gone. And on a completely shallow note, not hard on the eyes either. I mean, if I'm gonna listen to somebody, I'd like to look at them too.
Mm-hmm.
And funny. And from Brooklyn and the whole kind of everything. And where is he? Like, that was that first record, you and I talked about it, that first record, that only record, was really good. Roses was a huge hit. The remix was huge. His song with SZA is like one of my favorite songs ever. Well, not ever, but favorite song. Yeah, boy, boom. Where are you, St. John? We want you. Come back, St. John. Okay, for some reason, I don't know why. I decided to listen. I don't even know. Seriously, don't know why I did this. I started listening again yesterday to Exile in Guyville by Liz Phair, which is like her big. Okay, so great record.
Wasn't her big? People call it like a big feminist statement album. Wasn't that the one?
Well, it was her. Yeah, it was like really kind of like. It was a great record. The songs are great. Fucking Run is a great song. All the songs are great. But the thing is that it's supposed to be a track by track answer to Exile on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
I am telling you, Courtney, I have listened to this record. I listened to it back then. I listened to it now. I still don't hear I hear a few songs that kind of sound Stonesy, in terms of the guitar riffs. I swear to God, unless I am like, but I'm also the girl that thought that baby carrots actually were baby carrots and were grown like that. So Maybe it's just my girl-like naivete. And this morning I just love Tom Petty, and I was listening to a lot of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And I will say, out of all the artists that I wish I had seen that I didn't see, he ranks in the top 10. I can't believe I never saw him. And I was living right down the street from Winterland when he did that show. And remember when he was a punk, when they were marketing him as a new wave guy?
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's like a great songwriter. And I mean, I'm not alone thinking that. But I am reading a great book about Candy Darling.
Oh.
It's a biography of Candy Darling by Cynthia Carr. It's really, really good. And I will tell you this. One of the great things about it is just reading the stuff about like New York in the 70s, like these crazy people living in these crazy places and like paying no rent. And it just like, it's hard to imagine New York being a place where you could be an artist and this downtown weird alternative theater scene and music scene. But anyway, it's a really, really good book. So that's it. That's all I've been doing.
Well, buenos dias.
Thank you. Buenos dias.
And on that note, kids, you know what the deal
we both
is.
like you like how both of us suddenly froze. We both froze at the same time.
Like I've only had one cup of sparkling water this morning. You know what I mean?
I've had three. I've had my coffee. I was sick. Listen, I realized that I came back from this really long trip. The jet lag was starting to kick in, and then I got sick. So basically, the last 2 weeks, I have not slept like a full night. I finally have the last 2 days. And, you know, the kids wake me up at 6:30 every morning. And by kids, I mean my bastard cats who demand to be fed. But yet who won't kill roaches? I'm like, I literally take them and throw them in front of the roach. And they look at the roach and went, nah. We'll wait for you to open a can. Anyway, continue and speak, please. So who's doing the big Pride show?
I don't know.
Isn't it what's her face, Cynthia Erico doing it?
Oh yeah, Cynthia Erivo. I saw her name. There's probably
is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry.
There's a Pride Island.
Did I turn her into an Italian person?
You know what's funny? It's like I haven't really gone downtown and done any of the Pride things in years. I do stuff usually locally, and there's a Harlem Pride uptown on Saturday, and so I'll walk over because it's very close to my house. I'll do a walkthrough, wave, and then come back home.
Who's performing at that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's like I never
Normani.
But even then, you gotta have the hits. The queens, it's not enough to see you. We want to see the ones that come out and have the bops. You got to come out and sing some mid-tempo ballads. You know how I know
summer is really here? The other on Saturday, while I was coughing up only half a lung, I left my house for like a hot second, and I hear the tribal call of thump 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 thump, and I walk over to South Portland because they shut that street down.
Oh, the DJ was out.
Yeah, and it was fun, and I gotta say,
your new neighbors haven't tried to shut that down yet.
I know. But I'm sure if they use compostable, composting, if they have composting there, they'll all be fine. I didn't get in the mix because A, it was 5,000 degrees, and B, I was just not in the mood. But what I love about house music, other than everything, is that you can dance by yourself, and nobody thinks you're a complete loser.
Yeah.
And there is no incorrect way to dance.
Nope.
Unless you're German and are twirling for no good reason.
Even that you can do.
That's true.
Because house music is a feeling. It's however you feel. It's tribal. It's
so I was just sitting
your body
there,
how it feels like moving.
And I was like, oh, look, there's black people in Fort Greene again. Remember this moment. Remember this moment.
Is that place still open on the corner? What's the one that has the outside tacos and the margaritas?
Yeah.
So they haven't been pushed out. It's not something else.
No. It's still the taco thing. I was coming home one night. I'm like, oh my God, there's like a whole taco subculture going on in my neighborhood. No, they're still there, and they were kind of tacoing it up. They had a thing, but I think it's Head Sounds that helps with that too.
Yeah.
I think Head Sounds has something to do with it. But
I love Head Sounds. Their dollar bins are
they
really
are such
good.
Nice guys too.
Yeah.
They are such nice guys. But they're and it was a little bittersweet because Fumi used to do those shows a lot. But the guys from not Fat Beats, what was that great record store that was on Myrtle?
I don't know the one.
Dope Jams. Was it called Dope Jams? There was this really great house music record store on Myrtle a bunch of years ago. But anyway, it was lots of fun. So that's always a sign that summer is here. And no, the whites haven't shut it down yet. I'm sure it's bound to happen.
You're like, just be done by 6.
Well, I will tell you this, and then we'll go. You know that community garden on South Portland and DeKalb, right? So it turns out that the woman who is running it now has been my neighbor for 40 years. And I didn't even realize it. I look online. I'm like, wow, she looks really familiar. And I finally went up to her and said, are you blah, blah, blah? And she goes, yeah. And I said, oh, my God, this is crazy. We've been neighbors for 40 years. My other friend was walking down the street and she saw somebody's garden and said, oh, nice garden. And he said, oh, thank you. And he goes, and he said, I have this vision. I know it might be controversial, but I'm thinking that we should take that park on DeKalb and turn it into a gated park, a membership park, and then just take down all the trees and make a garden. And I'm like, and my friend was like, yeah, that's a really good idea.
And on that note,
because nothing says I'm white and I'm trying to work my way into a neighborhood that's been gentrified within an inch of life by taking a community garden, getting rid of all the trees, and making it into Gramercy Park.
Making it a fucking membership club.
A Gramercy Park.
And let's cut down the trees while we're at it.
Right, yeah. Anyway.
Well, you know the deal, folks. We'll be off next week for the 4th of July. We hope that you're going to be out on a lake in the water up. Like Amy, she'll probably go see her wife, and they'll be up in the woods.
I'm hoping to see the wife. Yes,
up in the woods, someplace with bad connection.
I know. I kept referring to her as my wife when I was in the Uzbekistan, and the friend of a friend said, I mean, not that it matters, but is she your partner? Are you married? And I went, no, she's not my partner, for crying out loud. Heterosexual men will never understand women's friendships. Clearly, she's not my wife, because I wouldn't be talking about her in such enthusiastic terms if we were actually married.
And she might be here with me on this trip. And on that note, because the lesbian couples, y'all would travel together.
Always. and find a Subaru dealership. Sorry.
Hatchback. And for that, you know the deal, kids. Tell a friend, leave a rating, talk to us on Facebook. Fun fact, I've had to block, like, if you listen to the show, listen, if you're the person that we had to block last week on our Facebook, we love opinions. Opinions are great. You do not have to agree with us. You don't have to, you can have a completely different opinion. We absolutely love that. But what we're not going to do on the I'ma Let You Finish, all one word, Facebook page, you should really come join us. We're great. We're on there a lot, lots of discussion. But what we're not going to do is any sort of race baiting and really the blatant levels of disrespect that were shown. I think every opinion matters and is valuable. But if you come here looking for it, you found the right two who are going to give it back to you. We love you, but keep it cute, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, doodles, scoodles, and caboodles. Bye.